Have you ever felt like there's some hidden force that just governs why we do what we do? What if I told you the answer isn't personality or motivation or even your mood? We're going to dive into a really powerful idea here that might just change the way you look at, well, everything.
I mean, think about it, right? We all have those days where we're on fire, just totally on top of our game. And then, the bad days, where the smallest little thing can send you spiraling. Why is that? Or why does a person who you know is competent and resilient suddenly just fall apart over something that seems minor? The usual answers just don't really cut it, do they?
And boom, here it is. This is the core idea, the big reveal. The person doesn't really change. Their internal structure, their architecture stays the same. What does change is this invisible force, this hidden variable being pushed onto them.
So what on earth is this hidden variable? Well, that's what we're about to get into. We're going to uncover this unseen force that makes all that unpredictable behavior suddenly start to make a whole lot of sense. You know, normally we'd look at this through a traditional lens. We blame weird behavior on emotions or a bad personality trait, maybe a lack of motivation. But this other view, the structural view, it offers a way simpler and honestly a much more powerful explanation. It says there's a single, kind of measurable variable that explains these huge swings. And here it is, in just 3 words. This is the big claim. Load changes everything. This one concept, load, reframes everything we think we know about how we function. It's the invisible force that's shaping our behavior, our stability, even who we think we are. Okay, so we've got to get specific. What exactly is load? It's a word we need to be really clear about because it's probably not what you think. So here's the technical definition. Load isn't a feeling. It's not stress or anxiety. It's a structural quantity. Think of it like the total amount of weight a bridge is being forced to support at any given second. It's a real, objective demand being placed on our internal cognitive architecture.
And this is a really crucial distinction to make. See, stress is how we feel about the pressure. It's subjective, it's emotional. Load, on the other hand, couldn't care less about your feelings. It's structural, it's indifferent, it just is. It's a force being applied to your system, period.
So where does all this load come from? Pretty much everywhere. It's the mental effort of your job, it's how many people are in the room with you, it's the complexity of the city you're walking through, it's even unresolved arguments in your head and the entire weight of your past. It all stacks up.
All right, so we have this invisible force called load. The really important part is understanding how it actually shapes what we do. Let's stick with that bridge analogy, because it's perfect for this. And here's how it all connects. It's a chain reaction. See, it doesn't go straight from situation to behavior. First, your internal structure, your personal architecture, determines how much load you can even handle. Then that load causes your structure to bend, or deform. And your behavior? That's just what that internal bending looks like from the outside. Now this bending, this deformation, it can go one of 3 ways. The first is elastic. You feel the strain, but you bounce right back to normal. The second is plastic. The load is so heavy or lasts so long that it actually changes you permanently. And the third is failure. The load is just too much and the whole system fragments. That's what we call a breakdown or a collapse.
This totally reframes how we think about our good and bad sides. Your best self isn't some other person. It's just you when there's very little structural demand on your system. And your worst self, that's the exact same you, just when your system is strained right to its breaking point. It's not about being a good or bad person. It's just structural mechanics.
Okay, I know this sounds a little abstract. So how does this actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Let's bring this down to earth. Get this. Every single conversation you have, every meeting you're in, every little social interaction, it's all just a transfer of load. You're either adding load to someone, they're adding it to you, or you're both just moving it around. You ever wonder why a simple disagreement can blow up so fast? Or why someone just completely shuts down in the middle of a conversation? It might not be about emotions. It's a load collision. It's 2 people, both with systems under high demand, trying to offload onto each other. And the result is system failure. Overwhelm, avoidance, shut. This way of thinking also solves one of life's biggest mysteries, right? How can someone you've known for ages suddenly seem like a totally different person? How does that happen? Well, this model would argue that major change isn't always slow and steady. A lot of the time, it's a threshold event. A person can absorb load and absorb more load and seem totally fine on the outside, right up until that pressure crosses a critical point. And when that line is crossed, the whole structure can snap into a new configuration. And to us on the outside, it looks like it happened overnight. So, what's the point of all this? Well, understanding load isn't just an interesting theory, it's a completely new way of looking at pretty much all of human reality.
Let's just put it all side by side one last time. Where traditional psychology might see a complicated mess of inconsistency and dysfunction, this structural view sees something much, much simpler. It sees a variable load causing a predictable deformation, all because a system's tolerance was exceeded. It basically trades confusion for clarity.
And that right there is the real power of this idea. If you can get a sense of someone's internal architecture and you can map the load they're under, their behavior stops being this random, unpredictable mystery. It starts to become predictable. The unpredictable starts to look almost deterministic. And that's really the big takeaway. This isn't just a piece of trivia. It's a filter you can now apply to every single interaction, to your own moods, and to the world around you. So the next time you see someone acting out of character, just ask yourself, what is the load on their system right now? Because I promise you, once you start seeing load, you will see it everywhere.